This portion of the show is being brought to you by Ed's Almost Good Beer. Remember, Ed's Almost Good Beer was brewed in God's country when God wasn't looking.
Hey, football fans, the Armchair Quarterback Show is back Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. A 3-hour wake-up show that'll cover it all. College football, the NFL, fantasy football, and Major League Baseball. It's the Armchair Quarterback Show, 9 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern, Saturday mornings, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks 1 YouTube channel.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
Hey, Braves fans, the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel are bringing you Braves baseball all season long. Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I'll be bringing you Braves baseball play-by-play for the Braves fans out there, for all of Braves country. So pull up an armchair and join us for Braves country baseball, first pitch to last pitch, Tuesday and Friday nights, right here on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel.
Lager, the beer that brought the forest.
Good afternoon, good evening. Going here about 6 o'clock Eastern, and getting started a little earlier than we had planned. So we were trying to get in this draft. So it's my pick already. We've got McCaffrey, Taylor, and it's my up. I'm going to go ahead and grab Cooper Kupp as we get rolling here. I'm going to try to share this as we go along, as I was hoping I would get a little more time to join this. When I jumped in this draft, it was still 4 or 5 people, so that tells you how popular it's getting. But this is a best ball tournament, and I've got the number 3 pick overall, and would love to hear anyone's opinions on who I should take, etc. So as you can see, as I am sharing the screen and it's going up and down, Jefferson, Chase, Eckler. I grabbed Kupp. I think you're foolish not to grab Kupp at that spot. If I have the top 2 picks, I'm probably going one of the top running backs. But after that, I've got to get one of the elite receivers. So it's coming up and coming down, and as we get going here, looks like it was Henry, then Eckler, Adams, and I am 9 picks away, so I'm dealing with getting this thing fired up and then also paying attention to the draft as well. So bear with me, but we will get this thing rolling in no time, and feel like I'm going to be in pretty good position considering where all these guys are falling right now. As you get the number 3 pick, I would kind of like to be a little further back so I get a little more depth at the early positions, the early part of the draft. As it's starting to come back to me, 6 picks away, still a lot of big names left there, but I got to figure when it comes back to me, I'm going to have to make, at that point, that's usually when I start looking at strategy. What are you going to do strategy wise when you hit that that second pick. The first pick is always super easy. I mean, it has to be in a best ball draft. It's got to be really damn easy. If it's not, you really shouldn't be in a draft, because the first pick, you should be picking someone who is going to be elite. Of course, you can't predict injuries, but after that, I feel like you've got to go out there and start looking at. I started with the receiver. I would like to go running back next, but I'm not going to pigeonhole myself. If there's a better receiver available, and I cannot believe Joe Mixon fell that far. Joe Mixon fell to what is the 14th pick. So this ended up being a 10-man draft. I couldn't find a 12-man draft that was going to go off quick enough to do this show. I was trying to get this in before all the preseason football tonight, because we got a lot of NFL preseason football tonight. It's about to come back to me. So that's why this draft is going to look a little deeper than what you typically get when you have that 10-man draft. So we're looking for basically everything that can be done on the team, on my team that I'm trying to build. And in a 10-man league, 10-team league, you're going to have ability to build a lot. See, right now, Andre Swift and Aaron Jones are both available. There's no way you don't go Swift right here. I think you got to go Swift in a best ball like this. Start off with Swift and Cup, and then it's going to come back to me in about 5 picks. So I'm going to have the opportunity to go ahead or 4 picks. I'm going to have the opportunity to then, at that point, I'm going to grab either the best receiver, best running back available. At that point, I don't feel like I have a need at that spot. And see who they're going right now. We're still about 3-4 weeks away before we get the big time drafts, where it's a season-long drafts. The draft weekend, Labor Day weekend, to me is the official draft weekend. That's when most people wait to do all their big drafts. So before then, I love doing these best balls. These best balls are the best way to kind of fill the time, and then also give you an opportunity to see where guys are going. So you still got Evans, Fournette, Kamara, Chubb. I think I'm going to go running back here, see who Jarquell ends up picking here. And he went with receiver and Evans. I can get Alvin Kamara in the 3rd round. That's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to grab him up every single time. So my team right now, I'll tighten up the view here in a second once I get done with all the preliminary stuff I have to do when I fire these up. But my team right now is looking Swift, Kamara, and Cup. And I know a lot of people are bugged out about the fact that Kamara could get suspended, but I'm starting to think that suspension may not come this year. The trial day has been pushed off for 2 months. I'm still 12 picks away, by the way. So I'm just about starting to get this thing tightened up. And when we're talking about 12 months away, 2 months away, then it's got to go to, and we see how slow these proceedings are to get a judge that they're going to hire off to the side to decide when and where the next guy's going to, or when and where he's going to get suspended. So, for instance, I mean, Deshaun Watson, to me, this should have already been taken care of by now, right? But instead, we're sitting here. Preseason games tomorrow night, unless some news breaks in the very near future. The plan is for Deshaun Watson to hit the field against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the preseason game tomorrow night. And I know that's not what the NFL wants. But at this point, what else can they do unless that judge comes out on a Friday news drop, suspends him, and then at that point, Deshaun Watson won't be in that preseason game. But right now, if you're the National Football League, I'm sure you're trying to expedite that as fast as possible. When it comes to Kamara, there's not as much hate on that. I'm going to close up this. Let me do this a little differently on the share screen because that share is just way too wide. Going to go ahead and do the portion of the screen, and we will get it going like this with the, do it like we did the other day. This gives you a much better idea of what these teams look like. And they're coming up on the clock. Where am I at? I am 2 picks away. So when it comes to my pick, I'm going to close out and go in. I'm going to do that now. So I still have, wow, this is wild. The running backs that are going so, I'm going to grab Travis Etienne. I think this is insane that Etienne has fallen this far. So now I've got my 2 stud running backs, and I'll go to the wide view. I got my 2 stud running backs right here. Then I've got my flex, and I've got an elite wide receiver. When it comes back around, I'm probably going to punt quarterback and tight end for a minute because the tight end runs already happened. Unless someone elite falls in my lap, which I don't suspect that they will, I'm going to push off the tight end position. McLaurin just went. Robinson just went. The ceiling that ETN has, I would much rather deal with ETN on my team. Let's see. My pick is next. I would much rather have ETN sitting there on my flex. And now I can start going after wide receivers. I look at these wide receivers that are available. I think I'm going to go ahead and grab Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown. He's a guy, he's a boomer bust guy, Marquise Brown. And I know that. I know that when he gets out there to Arizona, there's going to be weeks where he's just absolutely going to flatline and he's going to piss you off. But he's also got the speed. And if he starts working well with Murray, I don't think he's going to fall to me, but if he does, I would grab him the next time around. I just don't think he's going to fall that far. It's got to come up and come down. And I'm 12 picks away at this point. I don't think I'm going to get Brown. Lamar Jackson's already gone off the board. So you still have Mahomes out there that someone can grab. But if any of these guys start going on a quarterback run, he won't be there. But I've got other options that I can go to. And at that point, I'll make a decision on what my next wide receiver would be. Going to kind of see where it falls to me on this. I figure all these teams, there's going to be 2 or 3 quarterbacks that are going to go in the next, round and a half. And there's only 2 teams, right? 2 teams that are in between me and the next pick that already have their quarterbacks. So I kind of figure quarterback's going to go here pretty soon. But you look at my team right now. I got McCaffrey. I got Kupp. I've got Swift. I got Kamara, ETN, Marquise Brown. I like the big play opportunity. I like this team too. Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Mike Evans. McLaurin's a little bit of a stretch, and Michael Thomas. I've got quite a few of his shares already, so I'm kind of leery to grab more of him because the man hasn't played football in 2 years. So that's going to be a little iffy if you want to go out there and grab. Now Mahomes is gone, and so I gotta have to kind of assume I'm not going to. I tried to go for the gusto and get the top receiver available. I think I'll end up getting burned on this, but that's okay because there's so many other quarterbacks that I can mix and match in with my team. Darren Waller, I'll tell you what, that's surprising. Darren Waller going in the 5th round. If I would have pulled up the tight ends, would have seen that, I probably would have went Darren Waller there. But Kittle now going. There's starting to be a run on these tight ends, which is fine with me because at this point, there goes Murray. At this point, I could care less about grabbing an also ran at tight end. I've got 2 receivers, 3 running backs. I don't have a tight end. I don't have a quarterback. I'm probably going to wait to see who my quarterback is before I worry about who my tight end's going to be. Looking at the players that are available, I pull up the, gotta move that a little bit. Schultz and Hawkinson, Godere, all those guys are still available. The quarterback position, 2 spots away. If Hurts ends up being there, he might be, I might end up grabbing him. I believe he is there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Hurts since you get the 6 points for when he rushes in. And I think it'll actually play out for me when it comes back around on the tight end. You got Schultz, Hawkinson, and Godere. I don't think if I play the long game, in theory, I could wait to grab Godere up and down, but I don't think he's going to make it that far. And the receivers that are available that I could pair with Hurts aren't realistically going to match well with that. So I think I'll probably go best player available, to be honest with you. You look at Godere, he's still, God, he's 30 spots below. So I'm probably going to go best receiver available. And depending on where Jarquell goes, he ended up going Metcalf. That's where I was leaning. I'm not going to go Mooney. I'm not going to go. I've got everything but my tight end, but I think I can wait on my next tight end. So with that being said, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take Drake London. I like London's upside, and he's an explosive receiver. He should be able to stretch the field. I'm a little leery because of the quarterback situation, but I'm hoping Ritter gets in there by the middle of the season, and away we go. My receiving core, I could have done a little better. Right now, I've got Cup, which you love. Brown, I would have liked Brown a lot more if I could have mixed him up with Murray. And then Drake London, I'll be going for a lot more depth now, but I'm loaded at running back, so I don't really have to focus on running back for a while unless something just falls in my lap that you just cannot pass up. Lazard, Mooney, Dillon, they all go off the board. I don't feel like I'm missing anything by seeing those guys go off the board. I'm really, really hesitant about Amari Cooper. In fact, I don't even know if I have a share of him this year. The simple fact of the matter is Amari Cooper may be sitting there with Jacoby Brissett as his quarterback for the entire season. And if that's the case, what are you going to get out of Cooper that's worth a 6th or 7th round pick, 8th round pick? I think he's being projected way too high. We did this a little early. I'm typically going to do these closer to 6:30 Eastern, but I wanted to get it done before the NFL preseason game that's coming on tonight, which should be, was it 7:00 Eastern, I believe? And I believe it's, I know the Titans and the Ravens are going off at 7:30, if I've got that straight. So the one before that kicks off at 7, I believe, and I believe that's NFL Network. And I'm waiting to see if I even get the Ravens Titans game. It's really confusing with my quote unquote cable provider. It's a streaming service, but it shows it up there. But a lot of people have told me that they're going to ask for additional payment to watch it. And if that's the case, I'm not paying extra to watch a preseason game. Yeah. Giants, New England kick off at 7 Eastern. And we wanted to get this in before that game started. I know it's not a lot. Plus you've got the Field of Dreams game tonight. I don't know how much interest is in either one of those, but I am gonna sit back and watch them, and I'll probably have the volume on the Field of Dreams game and just watch the preseason games until it gets closer to week 3. The preseason games to me can be extremely dull. And nowadays, I guess it's going to be week 2. I guess it's next week that you would really point towards, because a lot of teams last year took week 3 off. They thought if they ended it early, they would have a full dress rehearsal in week 3, and that's not the case. What ended up happening was a bunch of them sat down. All right, so it's my pick again, finally, and I'm sitting here, my best player available. I'm going to go ahead and grab my tight end. He fell, Goddard. I'm going to go ahead and grab Goddard. So now I've got Goddard and I've got Hurts. I could have went out there and grabbed Schultz. I could have grabbed something else knowing that Schultz was going to go before Goddard, but I wanted to go ahead and match those guys up. So now it's coming back around. I'll see who's best available. Probably going to load up at receiver. I like a lot of these receivers that are still out there that are sitting out here. You know, you've got Hunter Renfrow, like him a lot this year. Treylon Burks, to me, is a very interesting one. If they can get enough opportunities for him, he should be able to flourish with AJ Brown out of the picture. So it does fall to me. I'm going to go ahead and grab Renfrow. I probably have too many shares of Renfrow, but I do think he is going to pay dividends and basically take advantage of what right now everyone's talking about, the addition of Devontae Adams, right? But what's not being talked about is the fact that, okay, now you're going to have a healthy Waller. Waller was injured last year. So now you're going to have a healthy Waller, and you're going to end up with teams focusing on that, stopping Waller, stopping Devontae Adams. And I think it's going to create a lot of open space for Hunter Renfrow, and there's going to be opportunity for him to have big games. I'm not saying he's going to outperform Devontae Adams, but considering where you're going to get him in the draft, I really like where he's falling in the draft. Treylon Burks, once again, I think he's a very interesting story. The fact that the Titans will start off, and we'll get a lot more information the next couple of weeks with these preseason games, but the fact that he is essentially going to be the number 1 receiver because Woods got brought in and he is the veteran, we get that. He's coming off a major injury. So I know they've got other returning receivers, but as far as the talent that Burks has, none of them. They drafted Burks because he was the closest thing to AJ Brown that they could bring in. Change that view again. I apologize. Trying to stay focused over here, trying to keep it up. Move that down a little bit too, so you can see where we are in the draft. London, Goddard, and Renfrow are my last 3 picks. I am still 5 picks away, 4 picks away. And I'm either going to grab another quarterback, or I'm going to go best flex option. If he's there, see where we are at the quarterback position. Derek Carr is still there, and Matthew Stafford is still there. Well, Matthew Stafford just went off the board. I was thinking about grabbing Stafford because I could have paired him up with Renfrow. Cup. But now I might be pigeonholed to grab Carr, whose bye week is 6. Hurts' bye week is 7. If not, I could always grab Aaron Rodgers and grab some of his receivers that are going late in the draft and pair them up. I'm not going to grab the Atlanta quarterback, whichever one you think it may be the starting quarterback. I'm not doing that. I'm steering clear of that. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. So it does fall to me. You look at what's best available. I'm going to get to pick again here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and get that quarterback, that second quarterback, Derek Carr, who I think is being undervalued this year. Derek Carr getting all those fun tools. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So I've got Hurts to pair with Goddard. I've got Carr to pair with Renfrow. And now I'm essentially done with the quarterback position. I can take it off. It's coming back to me here in 2 picks. And I'm looking at the players that are available. It's probably a good time if one of these running backs will fall to me to go ahead and bolster some depth at the running back position. Penny went. I really would have liked to have had Penny right there. But even losing out on Penny, a little concerned about the reports coming out of New England that the Damian Harris could be traded. So I'm kind of leery of going after him. The wide receiver position is interesting as waiting for the next pick to go. And the tight end position, I don't see anyone I'm going to be able to pair up there. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the best available player. And I think the best available player in this mix, when you consider all of the options, I'm going to go ahead and take Robert Woods. Robert Woods has an ability to go into that Tennessee offense, and a veteran quarterback like Tannehill is going to be looking for better. And the two of them are probably looking at this as a big week for them, or a big year for them, considering the fact that both of those guys at the end of this year are going to be looking for a job, and Woods is going to try to up his value. Tannehill has something to prove because he's basically being pushed out the door. Right now, Tannehill, for all intents and purposes, does not have a job in 2023. So that's going to motivate him to put up big numbers. That doesn't motivate me enough to pick Tannehill because we all know that they're still going to try to lean on Derrick Henry. When I look at my team right here, I really need to get some depth at the running back position. And when it comes back around, one of my picks will probably be a running back. I feel pretty good with the receivers that I have picked up here. I've got Brown, London, Renfro, Woods, some solid receivers, and of course the elite receiver in Cup. Marquise Brown could be an elite receiver with Hopkins being out for the first 6 weeks. And the speed that he has, Hollywood Brown and Murray, if they end up pulling together and being a really good combination, that could be scary. But I still would feel better if I get some other receivers with some upside, and then of course running backs. I've got to get some running back depth. I don't worry about my tight end depth. I figure Goddard is my guy, except on the bye week. I'll grab an extra tight end somewhere and hope he catches, a handful of touchdowns. But I don't worry about that too much because once you get past the four or five tight ends in the draft, it's pretty much a crapshoot on any given week. Now, one always seems to emerge, and we'll see what happens this year. There's a couple of them that if we knew more what was going to go on with Deshaun Watson, Njoku is a guy that could pique my interest. But once again, I don't want to get any receivers that are going to be led by Jacoby Brissett, who is a fine quarterback to try to get you W's. He's the ultimate game manager, right? But you don't want him in fantasy football. And it is my turn to draft. So let me see what is best available. I can't believe Melvin Gordon fell to me this far. I'm definitely going to grab Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon, my fourth running back. That is going to be a solid running back core. And now I'm looking at the best receiver that'll possibly come back to me. I'm not that excited about Komet or Irv Smith or whatnot. They could provide some depth at tight end, but I think I'd rather take a chance at some of these receivers. So I'm waiting for that to come back. I draft in 3 picks. So in 3 picks, I'm going to be looking at the best receiver available. If I saw a good handcuff, I would grab him there too. Rachaad White, to me, the only way I'm grabbing Rachaad White in a best ball draft is I already have Leonard Fournette. In a year-long draft where I could drop him down the road, yeah, I might draft Rachaad White later in a draft. But if he doesn't end up getting the carries that we think he could, you're stuck with a dead running back in the middle rounds. This is too early to draft a guy that isn't going to produce on a weekly basis. So you got some of these receivers that are coming around, and some of the ones that I have, I'd still have a long ways to go. So I'm going to grab someone with a little more of a higher floor. Man, McCurl Hardman really, really makes me wonder if I should grab him. But I'm going to do the smart thing, the easy thing. I'm going to grab Garrett Wilson. He's going to be on a team that's always going to be falling behind. He was looked upon as one of the elite receivers in this year's draft, and that gives me some more depth. And I'm going to grab at least 2 more wide receivers. We have, 5 more picks left in the draft? So at least 1 tight end, at least 2 more receivers, and probably 1 or 2 more running backs, depending on how it falls. The running back situation, look at the guys that are available there. It's more likely that I end up getting a handcuff for one of my teams. Marlon Mack is an interesting one. We might put in the queue there just in case he falls, but I kind of expect him to go before him. Khalil Herbert's another one. Jamal Williams is another one. These are guys that if they fall to me, especially Williams, because I already have Swift, I might seriously consider grabbing him the next time around. Hardman, that's the biggest debate this offseason with McCurl Hardman. Is Patrick Mahomes going to carve out with a brand new receiver that's coming in? And he's got the rookies. He's got we know there's all kinds of options. Or is he going to go with what's familiar and grab Hardman? And Hardman is the closest thing to he's a poor man's Tyreek Hill, right? We all know he's not Tyreek Hill. Nobody's Tyreek Hill. But he can create that same kind of separation in space. And it would be interesting if you were to fall that far. Kenneth Gainwell's another. We remember Gainwell had a couple of good games and then just fell off the map. I'm so nervous about grabbing Miles Sanders in this year's draft because he absolutely disappeared, and Mac has already gone off the board. Damn. Really hoping Mac would fall to me. But the whole Philadelphia running back situation to me is just an absolute crapshoot. Doing best ball draft here on Underdog Fantasy. If you're just joining us, I've got the number 3 pick, the armchair quarterback right there. So what I've gotten so far is I'm 3 picks away. We'll go over it real quick as Gesicki just went off the board. Kupp, Swift, Kamara, Etienne, Marquise Brown, Jalen Hurts, and then I got London Goddard to pair with my quarterback. Hunter Renfrow and Derek Carr paired together, Robert Woods, Melvin Gordon, Garrett Wilson, and it has fallen to me. And Jamal Williams has fallen to me. And considering the fact that Williams, I've already got DeAndre Swift, I'm going to go ahead and take Williams to give me a little more peace of mind at what I'm doing at quarterback. At running back, excuse me. It's interesting. George Pickens has been playing with the first team, and him and KJ Hamler, they're both really interesting picks at this point. This is a 10-man league, so you're going to see a deeper draft than what you typically. I've been doing a lot of 12-man leagues on these, but the 10-man league was the only one that I saw that was about to start, and I wanted to get this in before the preseason football games are about to kick off in about 20 minutes. So looking at this, I'm 3 picks away. So we're coming back on the turn. So whatever I make here on my pick, I'm not going to have another pick for another, 14 picks. So whatever I do here, and I've only got four picks left. I'm probably going to wait till the very end to grab that extra tight end. It comes back to me. And looking at this, the James Robinson thing is so tempting. Already, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab Robinson. I don't really love it, but the fact that I have ETN gives me his handcuffs. So I've got the 2 handcuffs and little more running backs than I typically grab, but I'll be okay with it. And I know a lot of folks are looking at grabbing, the Romeo Dobbs and whatnot. I've got him in so many drafts in this past week or so. I've gotten a lot of shares of Dobbs. I don't want to keep grabbing a guy that we've never seen hit the field. So I'm probably going to, that's why I punted him. I thought about taking, or Dubs, I'm not sure how he pronounces it. I thought about taking Romeo with my last pick, but I'm going to steer clear of him this time. Give myself a little. Jahan Dotson was the one that was very tempting to me. I've got only maybe 1 share of him. I've got 1, maybe 2 shares of George Pickens, and this is probably my 35th draft or so. Most of the ones I've been doing have been, the long drafts. I really like those because it kind of fills your day, right? And I'll have 8 or 9 of those going at one time. But considering all the other guys that are still going to be available, that's why I punted on Romeo Dubs. But Dubs, I'll just highlight some of the guys that I do like. A lot of these guys already have so many different. I'll tell you a guy that's a good stash at tight end, extra stash at tight end is Gerald Everett. Everett with the with the Chargers. What can he possibly do at that, and where he's going to be in that offense? That could be incredible. Still 5 picks away, and Rojo just went off the board. Ingram just went off the board. I don't mind Ingram if you're going to couple him with Trevor Lawrence. We all know he's still one hell of a damn athlete. We just don't know what you're going to get out of him this year. It's coming up to my pick. See, this is what's gone on so far in the last few picks. You got Ronald Jones, Ingram, Zamir White, David Njoku, Khalil Herbert. That's another solid one. It's just, to me, it's smarter to go ahead and get your handcuffs, especially with the James Robinson, who was so good. And now that it is coming back to me, I can either take, he's going to fall to me. So to hell with it. I'm going to go ahead and take Dubs one more time. I wasn't going to take him. Hopefully. No, I'm not too bad on the bye weeks. My bye weeks are sitting at, only have 2 guys on the 14th, week 14 at receiver at bye week. And so there's 2 more rounds. And what I'll probably do is go, if Williams is gone, I'm probably going to go tight end. If he's there, I'll grab Jamison Williams just to give me another receiver that could be explosive. So I'm going to grab him. The depth of my receiving core is going to be really damn good on this team. And now I've got to force myself to grab a tight end. There's not going to be anything that sexy or that great left there at the end because it's going to go up. So I've got to wait, 14 picks in between my pick and the next one. I'll go ahead and put this up so you can see who everyone else is taking. But by the time it gets to me, I'm just not going to have much of a damn shot of having anyone worth a damn. Whoever it was that grabbed Gus Edwards, if they also have J.K. Dobbins, which I don't, yes, he does. I really like that movie. If you're going to have J.K. Dobbins, you got to earmark Gus Edwards. In earlier drafts, when I was drafting Kamara, I was earmarking having Mark Ingram in there with them, but now I'm starting to wonder if Mark Ingram's even going to get the field that much, and will Kamara not get suspended till next season, till the off season? So and does he get suspended at all? Or if he does get suspended, what happens with that? So I'm not as interested in doing that now. If I hadn't went ahead and grabbed my 6th running back, I might have went Ingram at some point in this draft, but I'm okay with where I'm at. I've got my 2 handcuffs with Jamal Williams and James Robinson because earlier in the draft I grabbed ETN. I grabbed Swift. Now I'm looking at a tight end. Who are the best tight end available at the time? Which there's actually still couple of okay tight ends still out there. If ever it would have fell to me, that would have been the tight end that I would have grabbed right there. But he didn't, so that's where I went Dubs. And so it's coming back to me. We're here on the last round. You haven't played best ball before, but you play fantasy football. The best part about best ball is you don't make any trades, you don't make any pickups, you don't start anybody. All you do is draft your team, and then the computer takes your best lineup. And so what's great about that is you get all the fun of doing the draft, and then throughout the season, you're just checking your scores. And some of these are big tournaments. I'm involved in quite a few of those tournaments. This is just a 10-man league that I jumped in. I didn't think it was going to jump in as early as quick as it did. I jumped in and the thing fired up just as we were going on the air. So I kind of got caught flat-footed. But all in all, I think I did pretty good with this team. I'm looking to see now as it's coming back to me, going to tight ends. Tunyon's still there. Fant is still there. And those are probably the two guys. Tyler Higbee's still there, and that's interesting. Wouldn't have thought Higbee would still be there. Staring away from Hurst. Taysom Hill's enticing if you're going to have that third tight end and you just want to see what he does. But, he could end up sitting on the sideline the entire year because they're going to use him as a utility knife, and he doesn't score that many points for you. So he's a little enticing, but I'm going to go ahead and go Tunyon. And I did get him just in time. Went with Tunyon, and I got to figure he's going to look. I've got Dubs, and here's my team. I'll go ahead and share it for you so you can see the entire team, see it much better, and then we'll go to the overview. This is what the entire team looks like. We've got Hurts. We've got Swift and Kamara. Derek Carr should play well as a backup. I really like that, especially because I have Hunter Renfrow. The two dart throws that I'd say I don't feel as comfortable with, but they have high upside is Marquise Brown and Drake London. The problem with Brown is, and I get how talented he and explosive wide receivers. He's also had the case of the dropsies his entire career, so that makes me a little nervous. But getting Woods, who should get good production, Garrett Wilson, I'm interested to see what he does. There's so many great stories coming out of camp about Romeo Doubs, and then Jameson Williams. When he becomes healthy, he is going to be absolutely a terror out there. Because for my money, he was the best college football player in America last year. Dallas Goedert. In fact, I believe Jameson Williams is healthy. Jameson Williams easily goes top 2 or 3 in the draft last year. Dallas Goedert at the tight end role, and then Tunyon as a solid backup. Goedert, I expect him to flourish a little better with another year with Hurts, and you no longer have Zach Ertz out there being a distraction. I understand they got rid of him about halfway through the year, but they're going to go into this season now making a concerted effort to get Goedert involved. The only thing that I wish I would have gotten, and it's because I didn't expect to end up with Hurts. I was gunning for Murray, and he got plucked from me right before I drafted him. I would have liked to have gotten Devontae Smith because A.J. Brown's going a little too high for me. But the running backs fell to me that it ridiculousness that I got Swift, Kamara, and ETN. I really like that. And then Melvin Gordon falling deep in the draft. What was he, the 138th pick? That to me was one of my biggest steals of 118th pick. That was one of the biggest steals of the draft because Gordon, we saw it last year. As much as people are in love, and I mean they are in love with the second-year man out of North Carolina at running back for Denver. He didn't get the lion's share of the carries, and I don't think he's going to get them this year. I think they're going to split it up. They're going to try to keep them both fresh. You now throw Russell Wilson into the package out there, and it's going to be a situation in Denver where they're going to take turns on who has the big week. Let me see if we can see with the I guess that's it. I don't see a way to go back into full draft. Here we go. Take a look at this full draft real quick before we jump off here. See what the other teams are. I'd say I give my team about a B, maybe a B plus, but I would have liked to have had a little more depth at elite receiver. I think I've got good receivers, but I would have liked to have had one more guy that you go, wow, but that's okay because I ended up with two good quarterbacks. Javonte Williams, Jonathan Taylor. I still think Williams is a big stretch. Now he should be okay because he's also going to get Montgomery. Did he end it? Was he the guy that ended up? No, he didn't. I thought maybe he ended up with Khalil Herbert. Rashad Penny. I like the depth at the running back here. The receivers, I don't like so much on this team. Tyreek Hill is good. Allen Robinson could be interesting. But you look at some of his other receiving choices, he kind of punted receivers till the end of the round, the end of the draft. The guy with the second pick, I'm not a big Terry McLaurin fan because he hasn't had a good quarterback, and now he gets Carson Wentz. That ain't gonna be any better. I like the Evans pick. Michael Thomas has got a lot of question marks. DK Metcalf, I probably would have grabbed him, but he went right before me. I am still a little concerned about Metcalf because of his quarterback situation, but I do like the fact that the guy that grabbed Metcalf grabbed Tyler Lockett. So one of those guys ought to go off every week. Grab Tom Brady. That was his first quarterback. And I'd say that's why he went with Julio Jones where he did. But I don't like the Julio Jones pick at all. When he drafted Julio Jones, and I don't know if that was coming up or going down, but if it was coming up, he could have had in that same pocket. There were a lot of other receivers. Okay, that was the 102 pick. So some of the receivers that came after Julio Jones, Robert Woods, MVS, Russell Gage. I mean, why are you not grabbing Russell Gage? Julio Jones you grab here. You let Russell Gage fall there. Julio Jones is going to be an also-ran. Russell Gage is going to be able to flourish in the beginning, and then, it's going to be hit or miss. But you probably could have grabbed Gage, and then Julio may have fell to you again. Looking at the other team, see the number 4 squad. Let's see what they did there. Justin Jefferson, Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson. I always love it when they couple Andrews and Jackson. You got to do that. I don't like the Zeke pick because I just don't think Zeke's got it anymore. I think he's done. But I do like the rest of his team in the early part of the draft. I think he did a very good job. Brandon Cooks, A.J. Dillon. Christian Kirk's kind of a question mark, but all in all, I do like what he did. Got a little wonky there towards the end. The number 5 team, you got to love his first 2 receivers in Chase and Lamb. Lamb fell to him. That was very fortunate. Leonard Fournette. What I worry about with Leonard Fournette is the Buccaneers are there to win Super Bowls, not to win you fantasy football trophies. And there are games where Leonard Fournette disappears. And Tom Brady will throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, and Leonard Fournette will get like 60 yards rushing, and they'll call it a day. So I'm just not big on Leonard Fournette that early in the draft. I know he's going high, but I'm just not that big on him. Breece Hall, that's a crapshoot. A running back for the Jets. I get it that he's going to be a weapon out of the backfield, but I don't have a lot of faith in the Jets offense until they prove me wrong. And I damn sure Darnell Mooney, I know he gets an upgrade because of the injury situation. If you missed that, N'Keal Harry is out 6 to 8 weeks with the ankle sprain. Justin Fields to me just has not taken. I thought Justin Fields was going to be a hell of a lot better than what he is right now, and maybe he makes big strides this year. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not a big Justin Fields believer at this point. Now, he did a good job late in the draft getting Dak Prescott that late. That's pretty impressive. He got Dak after Tom Brady. I personally ranked Tom Brady over Dak, but most people are drafting Dak in front of Brady, so he did a good job there. He did draft Justin Fields. I mean, Fields ends up balling out. That's going to be a great draft, but I'm just not buying it this year. The number 6 guy, you got Eckler and Barkley. I'm not a Saquon Barkley guy. I think his better days are done. I know a lot of people believe Daboll can get something out of him. I'm not one of those people. I think I watched a guy run really tentative, and I know he was off a major injury last year, so maybe that's got something to do with it, and maybe a second season off that injury. Maybe he ends up taking the next step. But I'm not a Saquon Barkley believer, not to draft him in the first 15 picks. And he's going at least there. Saquon Barkley's going even higher in some drafts. I thought the Joe Mixon pick, by the way, was a steal. This guy's let's go to this team. I love this team so far. Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Higgins and Waddle and Waller and Kyler Murray. He's the bastard that took Kyler Murray from me. Now, not a big Amari Cooper fan, but he also got him in the 6th round, so you can't complain about that. Elijah Mitchell is a solid pick. Kadarius Toney's got some upside. Got MVS later in the draft. Towards the end, a lot of his picks are kind of questionable, but a lot of people's are at that point. He was really throwing a dart there, trying to catch Deshaun Watson and Donovan Peoples-Jones. If he gets good news, then hey, that's great. You never know. Let's go to the back end of this draft and see what these teams look like. Devontae Adams, Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, Josh Allen, Juju, and Kittle with Hopkins. Of course, we know he's going to be gone for 6 weeks. That's pretty decent team, decent start for that team. Diggs and Samuel and A.J. Brown, great receiving start. But then this guy punts the running back too far. He punts him too far. So he goes out and gets Patrick Mahomes. Why the hell he felt like he had to go get Patrick Mahomes with the 49th pick when he didn't have a running back yet? I mean, he could have went out and got, my God, he took DJ Moore after he already had 3 receivers. He took DJ Moore. And it went up and came down. He still could have had Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, David Montgomery, all those guys were there. He punted it. It comes back down to him again. He punts it again. This guy goes in and doesn't draft running backs until the 10th round. Singletary, Walker, Spiller, Gainwell, Jones. He doesn't have a single guy that you could consider a bell cow on that roster. That team's going to be pitiful. He's going to show some flash with the receivers, but that team's going to be pitiful when it's all said and done. His running backs just aren't going to get it done. And this team at the bottom, usually those teams do really well. Cook and Kelsey, Mike Williams, James Conner, solid picks. Judy's a solid pick. Deontay Johnson, Thielen. I like this team at the back. They did a pretty good job. Even like the Marlon Mack pick at the end with Jameis Winston. I really like those picks right there. And, the very end of the draft, maybe not so much. And I don't like the idea of 3 quarterbacks when you've already got Winston and Trey Lance. You should be okay. But he grabbed Matt Ryan at the very end. And look, if he had Michael Pittman, I love it, but he didn't. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Appreciate you stopping in. We'll be back doing this Saturday morning. We're going to be doing a draft, and not sure if we're going to you doing another before puppies close. I'm not positive when the puppies close, but we are doing one on Saturday So if the puppies are going to be open on Saturday, we're probably going to do a puppy draft. Donnell, sorry, I just saw your comment. Saturday morning, we'll be doing a draft at about 11 a.m. Eastern. We do the Saturday morning show every week, all the way through fantasy football season. And my fantasy guys jump on at 11 a.m. Before that, we talk a little Major League Baseball and a little college football. We'll be talking more NFL this week. But I believe the puppy will still be open, so we'll probably do a puppy on Saturday. Tune in then. All right, we'll go ahead and jump out of here, and hopefully the puppy will be there on Saturday. I'll have to double check that, and we'll get back to you Saturday morning. Have a good one.